Hi, welcome to Things That Keep Us Up at Night podcast, hosted by Kath and
Kandi.
where we literally talk about things that keep us up at night.
Today's episode's going to be about aesthetics. Now, we make fun of aesthetics a lot. You know, you have what kind of aesthetics is there?
Cottage
Your
core,
art holes, your cottage core,
emos,
your emos, your
goth.
skater. Oh my god, I watched a TikTok that one of my younger friends made, and it said, "Oh, my aesthetic is skater girl slash indie, like slash e-boy," and I was like, I'm sorry. I think that the whole concept of aesthetics is like kind of dumb. Like it's okay if you want to like reach a particular like style, whatever, right? And you want to fit into those categories. I understand. I understand if it's like you're trying to get to whatever vibe, you know? But then if you're basing your whole life around this aesthetic and you're
Mm.
making it your personality trait,
Yeah, that's
it's
so
annoying.
annoying, honestly. It's not, no, no,
It's
no, it's
annoying.
not annoying. Like, okay, you do you, but I just find it so unnecessary. Like,
Yeah. So,
like because of this aesthetic, you're not allowed to like do certain things, which is honestly
mm.
quite stupid. And
Yes, but then like I also think that there's this whole culture about, getting rid of all your clothes and replacing them with like Y2K stuff, And
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
getting rid of all your clothes and then you decide, "Oh, I want to move on to a different aesthetic." Mm, okay, whatever. If you're going to donate them and switch them out and whatever, you have the money, go do whatever. But I just think it's kind of weird to think that your whole like everything about you is fitting into this one box. It's just
No, but
I feel
like
like we should be able to.
what doesn't sit right with me is like those people who just like drastically change and then when you ask them like why, they're like, oh, for the aesthetics, and like I
Yeah.
realize like, oh yeah, I don't like that aesthetic, so I like this aesthetic more. I don't know, I find that very like unnecessary and like honestly kind of stupid because like there are people that I know that like they're like completely different from what they were before. And the
Yeah.
reason of like them changing is because of aesthetics. And I'm just like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to that extent.
Yeah. And it's like sort of not what is that word? This whole thing with like glorifying smoking, for example, or glorifying looking rich. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Glorifying looking sickly, this whole thing to do with aesthetics and like looks is just kind of, it's like what we talked about in our first episode kind of with
Mm.
insecurity,
Yeah.
because it's really trying to, like, what are you trying to achieve to like, if you're trying to fit into this certain box just because you like the style of it even though it's trying to harm your who you actually are as a person. I just think it's kind of dumb to.
Yeah. Like, you know what? There are people who actually like go like so far into this aesthetics thing to like until
Mm,
the point that like they change their personalities to fit into like whatever like TikTok tells them like this aesthetic acts like, or like Instagram tells them like how this aesthetic acts like. I'm like, that's not necessary. Like why are you doing this? Like
yeah.
you're like you're fine that way, you know? But yeah, I guess.
And this is coming from girls who tried, okay? I don't know about you, but like I definitely tried to fit into a certain aesthetic, right? You know the the visco girl aesthetic.
Shut up. You never
I
tried.
I tried I tried so hard to be like those girls. I swear. I tried so hard. I bought like so many tie-dye stuff. I brought out all of my old clothes and then I started wearing kaya apa, like the necklaces with the like the
The
seashell.
shells.
Mm. And then I started to put like, what is it? Like those
Beads, right?
beads. And then
Yeah,
I
I
don't
used
mind
to
the
tease
beef,
you
but
about
then
that, and you're like, no, I'm not a visco girl. I'm not a visco girl.
not
Apparently
a
now
visco
you're
girl.
saying you tried.
Yeah. Oh, I totally did. I totally did. I'm not gonna lie. Like honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I tried so hard because like I don't know. There's some at some point I feel like a lot of teenagers we just don't like ourselves or we get embarrassed about ourselves. You have that, you know that how what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you know, sometimes when you're um about like for some random reason if you bring something to school you get embarrassed or something, or if you show your friends around your house you're embarrassed of how messy it looks or something. That's like that was like me at first, and I was like, oh, but then if like most girls are like this, then it's better for me to be like that, right? Then no one can judge me, it's fine. You know what I mean? I feel like like you're also kind of like an emo skater girl.
Shut up, but that's just me. That's like it's not because I
It's
want to
true.
fit into that aesthetic. Like,
No, but at the same time, you also had like really pink laptop covers and stuff like that. So then you're not really taking away, you're not really
no,
like
but
trying to
that's
fit
that
into.
that's because I just wanted to keep my laptop safe. Okay.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, oh yeah, that's, you know, it's true that you're not actually trying to be something you're
Yeah.
not. I also tried to do the cottage core. I tried.
When?
It was during lockdown and I was just bored of like all my clothes and stuff, and I started like almost buying. I was like window shopping for like clothes that I'm going to wear that have like flowy dresses gitu gitu. I was I was prepared to live the cottage core life.
I see. Thing is with me, I don't really have an actual aesthetic because I
Yeah,
dress
me.
so differently each time, you know?
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Because
Like
like for me, I have like such a variety of clothes, and it's just like the clothes I wear are just like clothes that I like, right? So it isn't
yeah.
technically just like clothes that I buy for like the aesthetics or stuff like that. And like the thing is like the things that I also wear aren't also like only mine because the things that I also wear are also my sister's. So yeah, so like I can dress like completely different. Like one day I can dress like one day I can dress like as a goth, and then the second day I can literally dress as like cottagecore-ish, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then next day I can dress kind of like an e-girl, you know. So like
Exactly.
that's the
And I
thing.
feel like
That's
most of us are like that, you know? Like we definitely have like a bunch of dresses that don't match with the others, or we have like sweaters and like leg warmers that don't match each other and stuff like that. And I'm like that, but I tried so hard not to be like that. Like I tried to make everything the same,
mhm.
you know? And I was like, "Oh, I don't like it anymore, but I just bought it last week." You know what I mean? But I'm not like that anymore. I just think it's kind of dumb. Like I don't know why I tried to do that. I just think it's like the concept of having aesthetics your whole life just made me think that way, or maybe like this the content that I was watching at the time or something just made me want to do that. But yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Like there was one point in my life, well, not in my life. I think it was quite recently. I think it was like basically it was just like at the time when I was still using TikTok. So it was like early quarantine phase, you know.
Mm.
So basically during that time, I think it was like around like March 2020-ish. I felt so pressured to have like an aesthetic because like that was when like the whole like which side of TikTok are you on, you know? So
Yeah.
that kind of like made me like feel very pressured into like having an aesthetic, and I'm like, oh my god, like am I on like what like alt TikTok? Am I on like gay
Hmm.
TikTok? Am I on like straight TikTok? Am I on like a frog TikTok? And like I was just like, what is going on? But like jokes on you guys, okay? I was literally on One Direction TikTok. So yeah, but like yeah, basically that whole like what side of TikTok are you on also kind of fed into like me like thinking that I needed to have an aesthetic when like I realized that it was so unnecessary because like the thing is, how do you know something fits? When you feel
Mm,
when you feel confident in it, isn't it? It's not just like how do you know like something matches you? Like if you feel confident in it, then like it's not just
yeah.
like if it fits your aesthetics, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I tried so hard. I mean, that's the main reason why I tried to like follow certain aesthetics, like especially when I was in 5th grade and I tried to be like, like Megan DeAngelis.
Who's
And
that?
what's her name? My Life is Ava. I tried to be like those girls, sort of artsy DIY queens with the binders and the stuff. Didn't work out, obviously. It's because like I felt so I tried to find my aesthetic. Like I was like you, like I also had to feel I felt kind of pressured to have a certain aesthetic. So there was a point where I was like, oh, I'm that like vaporwave neon girl type girl, I'm like nothing else or whatever. But then it's just because I feel like the stuff I like are pretty random. So I tried to fit into other things that I enjoyed and neglected everything else.
Thing is, I feel like we both don't fit into like a certain aesthetic because
Yeah,
we actually like a lot of things that are like
yeah.
completely different. Like um I like Korean dramas, but at the same time I like anime, rock music, um country music, and like
Yeah.
indie R&B music. Like dude, like I don't think both of us can even fit because we just like a lot of things. And like if we were to say like, oh my god, we're in what aesthetic is like liking anime? What aesthetic is that? E-girl? No, it's not.
No, like those girls on Twitch? Those girls
Yeah.
on Twitch? Yeah. They're that kind of aesthetic with like the big makeup, like the cat
Yeah, yeah,
eyeliner,
yeah.
super heavy
Yeah.
makeup,
So
the
if
gamer
like
girl.
we were to say like we're in that aesthetic, and then we were like, or we go like, yeah, I like these other things as well. I feel like we would get discriminated, you know? We're like, what? No, like
Okay.
yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, okay, because I've never tried having friends who are like in the same aesthetic as me, but like
Mm.
basically that's that. But like this is just kind of like my opinion. I feel like if you are an aesthetic, or if you have that aesthetic and then you like other things other than what that aesthetic is about, you're gonna kind of get like judged, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like most people do like so many things, and obviously there's nothing wrong with like trying to, I don't know, make your house look a certain way, you know what I mean? Or dress a certain way for a period of time. I understand that to an extent, but then if you're going to neglect everything else that is like wonderful about you just to fit into these categories, it's awful, And I think that it's mainly the reason why we think so much about these is because there's so much pressure on trying to be in a particular type of community because aesthetics also come with communities, If you're into what is it called? Dark academia, people expect you to be smart or whatever. I guess, I'm assuming, for example. Or then if you have sort of an art ho type thing, you wear overalls and stripy colorful shirts, then you're expected to be good at art, for example. You know? It's like a personality is supposed to come with an aesthetic as well, and then
Mm.
everything about you just falls apart. So it doesn't work well. I think it's not good for us to, yeah, this whole thing about aesthetic is like exterior, if you know
Mm.
what I
Like
mean.
I'm not gonna name names. I'm also not gonna say like who she is to me, but like this girl, she was like the kind of girl that was like a happy-go-lucky girl, you know. How do I explain that? She's kind of like a happy pill, you know. She was like a happy pill. And then suddenly like end of 2020 and like the start of 2020 came, she suddenly turned into a goth. And then I was like, oh, okay. And she said, yeah, it's for the aesthetic. I was just like I realized that whatever I was last time wasn't my aesthetic. So now I'm going like for like a goth aesthetic. I'm like, I
Mm.
see. And like now whenever I talk to her, she just gives off this very rude vibe. And I'm like, why are you so different? She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I really like realize it's because she changed her aesthetic. That's why she's acting like this. And I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah, I have another friend like that as well. Um, I think yeah, so she was like really happy or something like all the time as well.
Mm,
But then she wanted to be kind of emo, I guess. I don't know if that's fair to say, honestly, but then we can tell, we can tell that she wants to be a certain way so that it matches. So now like she smokes with a bunch of guys, for example. And then yeah, and she would never do that. She would swearing was like a big thing for her as well. And now she does it all the time, which is yeah, it's okay to change your mind and stuff,
mm,
but then to do it just for the sake of like being like the girl from Skins, it's why? Why would you do that? Like, I'm happy with the person that you are, and if you change for the sake of changing yourself, at least it's
mm.
still. But then in this case, she tried to be somebody she's not, and that like ruined our friendship, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Like honestly, how do I say this? Like I won't judge you if you smoke or like you vape, whatever. Like clearly I don't judge you for that. But like if you just do it for the aesthetic and just like for fitting in, that's just kind of iffy, to me.
Mm.
So I don't know.
I mean, I honestly like I'm not that type of person to be so against, alcohol and smoking and stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not very against it. Let's say like I'm not going to hate somebody who does
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Me too.
That's totally up to you, and if you
Uh-huh.
want to do it, whatever, just be careful. But I agree, like if you're doing it just to look cool or because it's trendy or whatever, you know, I think that there's a lot of people who are trying to fit into trends as well, which
Yeah.
is, if you like a certain trend, that's fine. But if you don't, then don't follow it.
Like don't
Just,
force yourself to like that trend even if you don't. Like if you don't like
yeah,
it, then just like don't. Like just
yeah.
because I don't know how to say this, but like okay, like you're part of this aesthetic, but like if you don't like that specific trend, then don't need to follow it. Like don't follow just because it's your aesthetic.
Mm, yeah. I remember, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say like there was this point of time where I also tried to hate everything popular because I was so annoyed by like people who came up to me and they were like, "Oh, you know nothing about pop culture." So I started pretending like, "Oh yeah, it's just because like I hate it." Because I'm I'm like low-key, I don't know a lot of like the I mean, I know a lot of pop culture, obviously, like would expect, I'm on Instagram all the time and I'm on Pinterest all the time and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But then and I watch YouTube a lot. So like I know a lot of pop culture. But then there's so many things that are kind of niche in pop culture that I don't know. Like celebrities, I surprisingly don't know much about celebrities.
Me too.
And then yeah, and films, TV shows, characters we get I don't know because I don't follow so much of that. So when people say like, "Oh, you don't," that's so weird that you don't know because they're so famous or whatever. And then they test me, they do some celebrity quiz on me, and I don't know who I got. Then it's like, why are you attacking me for not knowing something that I don't know? Like I'm not in that particular
Not gonna
area
lie,
of
I do that to you though. So
what.
like I do that to you. Like we talk about a celebrity and I mention someone and you're like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, huh? How? Like kind of like that. It's kind of like
Oh,
your reaction when I first got into K-pop and then you're like
oh
singing
yeah, yeah,
Glee
yeah, yeah.
and
No, no, no,
and
no,
then
no.
you were like, wait, and I don't know, I was like, oh, is this a K-pop song? Because I remember like we were listening to music in my car and I was like, oh, is this a K-pop song? And you're like, yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't know this song. You're like, huh? You don't know G, girl? This is legendary. I was like, it is? Because at the time I only liked
no.
Twice because I was new to
Yeah,
K-pop.
don't get me wrong, okay? Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm okay when people say, like, huh, you don't know? That's okay. But then there's certain people that actually attack me for it. Like they'll say, oh, you didn't know that, like, Jennifer Aniston is dating this person, for example. I'll be like, oh, sorry, I didn't know. I mean, you know, or like Shia LaBeouf, I didn't know who he was for the longest time until I watched the Elastic Hearts music video. I didn't
Isn't
know who
he
he
the
was.
Just Do It dude? Like, girl. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I never actually know the names of people, you know. And
I
then
see, I
people
see.
would attack me for it. Like they call me like, "Oh, you're so not cool, you know. Oh, you're so weird. You don't know."
Oh,
So for
that's
the
so
longest time,
stupid.
I actually played along with it. I don't know if it's because they made me like that or if it's because like I just wanted to be different or whatever. But then I kept on being like, "Oh, I don't watch TV. I don't read that." You know what I mean? I don't do that. No. That's weird. But I think that's kind of similar to what I'm getting at, with aesthetics, You're trying to follow a certain trend or you're trying to avoid a certain trend just to come off a certain way. But I think there's a lot of things that everybody, like you and I and so many people, there are trends that we like, there are trends that we don't like, there are other things that we like that nobody else likes. It's a mix of different things. It's just we're different people, so I don't get why everyone tries to, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I really don't get the point of aesthetics because especially with the fact like let's just say you're this aesthetic, like I don't think people will like directly like pinpoint you as like
Mm,
this person that's from this aesthetic, I don't know.
yeah,
Honestly, where I like what I'm trying to say is just be yourself, there's no point.
yeah.
Like, girl, just be yourself.
That's
So,
true, which is
not
kind of
girl, like I'm not directing this to any girl, but I'm just saying like y'all, you
yeah, it's
all.
okay. Me too. A disclaimer. We put disclaimer. We put a disclaimer. Yeah. We're not directing this to anyone. We're just expressing our emotions about
Yeah.
fitting into categories and stuff. But yeah. Anyways, I feel like it's also kind of ironic that people choose aesthetics for Instagram as well. I mean, yeah, if you wanna make your feed look nice, I understand. But then
Feet.
feed
Oh,
Instagram feed. If you're trying to make your Instagram feed look nice, I get it. I totally get it. Like I've done it a couple of times and I tried to, it never works, but
I
still,
never
like I
did.
thought it looked nice. Girl, you put a pink pigment every single picture, so it looked consistent at least.
Ah, that was like years ago though. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I remember. I
Yeah, yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
never, it wasn't okay, that's true. Like it's not technically for my feed though. Like I just kind of liked how it looked. Look at my
Oh,
feed
yeah, yeah,
now.
I know. I mean, it's like me too. I'm not trying to as well. I was about to show.
Oh my God. Beauty guru
Our feeds
time.
look kind of messy. No, it's I can see it.
There, like my feed
Yeah.
is so messy. Like I don't even care at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I
Like,
wanna I wanna start like crap posting. I'm not gonna say S
uh,
word. I wanna start crap posting
go
because like
ahead. I'm all for it.
this whole I noticed what I noticed about myself is I carefully select, or I used to, not now. But I mean that's why I haven't posted in so long because it's so annoying. Like I always found myself selecting, good pictures or like
Mm-hmm.
mediocre pictures that are good enough to post or whatever. But like I'm sick of it. Honestly, I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. It's this whole thing about like I think it's also kind of related to aesthetics and like trends or whatever. But then looking good so that others can perceive you a certain way.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. For me, to be honest, I just pick whatever picture I think I look nice in. And
Yeah,
like if because I like I don't know. It's something in me. Like I don't like posting 10 pictures. So
mm,
like usually I'll like post like five, six. So like if there were like more than like six that I like, I would ask someone else. But it's not just for like compliments. It's just actually like me asking like which one do you think looks nicer for me to
yeah.
post? Like not nicer,
No,
decent.
That's exactly what I mean. I mean, we're so scared of showing ourselves to people, even if we're on a private account, you know? Like I noticed that I don't dare to show imperfections to whoever follows me. Like even my grandmother, you know? I don't want her to see me like whatever. Anyways, so yeah, I just find it kind of annoying that I subconsciously pick pictures that I look better in than others, you know? So
Mm.
it's I don't know why I'm so embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed of my life. Like obviously I'm not fake on Instagram, you know? I'm myself. I'm definitely myself. But I'm always the better version of myself. Or like
Mm.
I'm so put together versus I am like how I am in real life.
I feel
I'm
like
messy.
that's also everyone, you know. Like you don't need to
Yeah.
worry. Like I'm also kind of like that. Like the
Mm,
way I look in my Instagram pictures aren't always the way I look all the time, you know? Like
yeah.
look at me right now. I'm on my period and I literally have pimples everywhere. Like you can't see because my camera's not that good, but like yeah. And like if you look at my Instagram, I literally have like no pimples at all. So
Mm,
what are you expecting? Do you expect me like to like look like that all the time? Like no.
yeah.
So I feel like you don't need to worry that much about it, you know? Like just relax, you know? Cuz I feel like nobody looks the way they do on Instagram. Like do you expect me to look like this all the time? Wait, what? Like
Yeah, I
no,
can
like
see I know that picture. But it's also like yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about though, by the way. It's I don't know, like obviously I will post pictures that I look better in. But it's also like sometimes I feel like, oh, I feel like I'm not this person anymore, so I should change or whatever. Maybe that's just me. But then I get so insecure of myself all the time, you know? Seeing other people on Instagram. That's why I don't go on Instagram that often anymore. Maybe
you know
I'll
what's
start.
stupid? Like it's a me thing, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know, like I see all these girls, they're like barely posting and then they have like barely any highlights on their like Instagram and stuff like that. And like they're like all those like really pretty girls, right? And then I look at my feed, it's like really colorful. I have about like six
Mm,
highlights and like my things are
that's
everywhere.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I just get so insecure and I'm like, am I like posting too much? Should I delete some highlights? But I'm
Mm,
just like, wait, no, I shouldn't do that because my highlights are for me. Like, duh.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Everything I post is technically for me, so I don't get why I'm trying to be different. I don't know, but you like what I was talking about just now is exactly how you described it, but you
Mm.
just said it better. But yeah,
But I don't
you
know. I
described
feel
it.
like I'm not really scared of showing people my imperfections because at the same time, like I know nobody's perfect. So like why do you expect me to be perfect, right? So like I
Mhm.
guess that's why I'm not scared to like post me with pimples. Like I've it's on my close friends list, so like not everyone can see it, but like I have this thing where I call breakout diaries, right? But it's not an
Mm,
actual highlight, but I just post it, right? And so like I would always post like updates about my skin, like it's really bad and
yeah.
stuff like that. So I don't know, like I'm not scared to show people like, yeah, I have acne, yeah, I have imperfections. Like, so what?
Yeah, you know, actually, it really helped me. Like before we became friends, Ava, I really looked up to you. Like actually, based on your Instagram feed. So I don't know if that's the best judgment because you're definitely different than I thought you were, not in a bad way, but like
Okay.
you were so put together and you were so confident, you know, and your pictures were so aesthetic. So I looked up to you a lot because there was this one picture where you had your braces and then
Mm-hmm.
your hair was tied back, which I couldn't do for the life of me. And
Mm-hmm.
then you had acne, like you were showing it, you know. So it made me feel so like comfortable. I was like, how can this girl do it, you know? If she does it, then I should be able to as well.
Are you
Like I
just
really
like
looked up to you.
are you just like kind of insulting me.
No, I mean as a compliment. Like nobody would dare to show acne or whatever. They'll probably airbrush it or whatever. I always pick the photos where I don't have acne. I don't know why. I mean, I don't think people are ugly with acne or like whatever. But for some reason, I always think people will think that of me. So then I don't know. But I really looked up to you, because you had a lot of confidence. I don't know. You have a lot of confidence online. Like you show your life and it's pretty good.
I don't know, but like ever since like something happened to me in what grade,
Mm.
I basically lost all my confidence. So I haven't really been out there as much as I was before that accident happened. So
Mm.
I'm slowly gaining it back, but like
Mm.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
I
kind of
know.
hoping this podcast and my own YouTube channel will help me like gain
Yeah,
it
me
back.
too. I'm hoping that it'll help me as well. Because I'm trying to be a little bit more candid on this podcast, right?
Hmm.
Talking about like actual things. I don't want to hide anything. I'm trying to be more confident. Like I don't want to be famous and show the whole world
Hmm.
about me, obviously. But
Hmm.
then it's nice to just be normal instead of trying to hide every single thing that's wrong with me. Like I'm breaking out right now.
Hmm.
I'm completely breaking out and like I wish I could wax like my peach fuzz and like unibrow. But no, I'm not going to hide anymore cuz who cares? Like I'm probably the only one who actually really cares.
Yes,
Still.
queen.
I think all of this is to do with aesthetics.
Oh my god, we got
I
so
don't
off topic though.
Yeah, but that's the point.
Whatever, it's our podcast anyways.
It is
Wait,
it
oh
is
my
my
god, I want to clarify something. Like,
okay.
um, some people have texted me like, "Oh, like your podcast is so serious. It's so like kept together and stuff." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Really?
Like,
Oh
I
my
know,
god.
right? But like, thing is, I don't think that's it. I think it's just like first, our podcast isn't meant to be serious. It's kind of just like a lighthearted thing. Like, so I feel like it's just kind of like a podcast you listen to
Yeah.
while you're like doing some work, maybe. Yeah,
Oh
like
yeah.
we like don't take it too seriously. Like this is the whole point why we started the podcast. It's just like
Mm.
keep it lighthearted. And then people like also ask me like why like how am I so like able to talk about these things with Candy, right? Thing is,
Mm.
this podcast is just basically a recorded conversation of Candy and I. This is
Yeah.
literally like how we talk to each other.
Yeah, it is. Actually, not gonna lie, like we are slightly crazy, and we swear more, and
Yeah, correct.
I ramble more. Like obviously, the problem with a podcast is I'm not a very eloquent. What's another word for eloquent? I'm not very well spoken. I think it takes a lot for me to actually form sentences,
No,
proper
I think
sentences.
you're really well spoken. It's just the way
Oh,
you
really?
organize your thoughts sometimes
Yeah,
is
the
just
way I
kind of
organ. I'm bad at organizing my thoughts,
mm,
and like the way that I say things is like, oh, I say something that should have come after this or whatever. So it's like out of place. But I think that this podcast will kind of help me to develop that, I guess. And there's a lot of editing that goes on, right? So obviously
yeah.
we cut out like mistakes and like long pauses. But besides that, I mean, it's not meant to be something serious. Obviously, if we will dive into some serious issues, but then mainly it's just us talking about literally what keeps us up at
Yeah.
night.
Dude, it's so funny because like there are times literally I text Candy at like 3 a.m. I'm like thinking about this. I don't know why. It's not even that serious though. And then the thing is, she's also awake, so we just talk about it. So like I don't know. That's precisely why we kind of started this podcast. Well, not really.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to have a podcast since we were both in like grade 8 or 9, because like we like that was like around the time when I was getting into podcasts. I'm not sure about you, but like that was kind of like around when I was getting to
No, you
podcasts.
actually got me into podcasts. There was the only podcast I would listen to is like space themed. But besides that, no, I didn't listen to anything until you introduced me to like TMG.
Yeah, Tiny
Then
Meat Gang. Yeah, so basically that was like around the time I was getting to podcasts, right? So
mm,
that kind of made me want to have a podcast with Candy. And it's just the thing is, we just never did it because we're like, oh no, it's probably impossible. Like no
yeah,
way we're gonna be
actually,
podcasters, you know? And
and
then
also
like
we're so insecure of like drawing styles because both of us are we're so bad at art. So
yeah, I mean they can
we're
probably
so bad.
tell from our covers.
Yeah, our podcast covers, they're so quirky. Hashtag quirky. But
Dude, you know what people said? Well, not people, like two people. They're like, oh my god, all your covers are so different. I'm like, that's the whole point,
yeah,
I
they're not
guess.
consistent.
Yeah, I was like, that's the whole point. They're like, yeah, the first one is so plain, and the rest of the rest of them are like a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I mean that's the whole point. Like,
But I mean, honestly, like we're planning to keep this podcast for a very long time.
yeah,
Like a very long time until we just decide after a few years to stop or when it becomes tedious. But you can kind of see our growth, you know? You're right?
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like you kind of see like us trying to develop a certain style. Like we might even change our profile picture or whatever, but you know, because
Thing is,
we
I don't think we're gonna change that in a while because
probably not, yeah.
making that profile picture took a lot of effort, and
Yeah.
so I don't think we're ever gonna go through that again because we're so
Yeah.
bad at art.
Yeah, that's true. But it's also, you know, Kath and I are people that change a lot drastically within a very short period of time, but
Mm.
then we always change together. So
Yeah, I
that's
don't
like
know.
a
That's
cliche.
kind of scary, but like,
It
yeah,
it's scary and cliche, but it's true. So I mean, through this podcast, you'll see how different we are. You know, one week we'll think, "Oh, I want to do this," and then next week we'll
mm.
completely change. But yeah, that's
Like,
the beauty of us, I guess.
yeah, it's okay. Don't worry. We're gonna change, but like, we're still us, I guess.
We're because we're talking about aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
Our podcast, no aesthetic.
No.
But am I wrong? No, like we don't want to fit into a certain thing, you know. Why should
Mhm.
we be trying to keep up with a certain feed if we haven't discussed our proper style yet, you know? Soon we'll do podcasts like in real life together.
Yeah.
Which is
Hi guys, so we're gonna have a little intermission right here. And this is also a little friendly reminder to wash your hands, stay safe, wear a mask, and yes.
Hi everyone, we're
We just had a little intermission because Candy and I got
intermission
distraction. Just
distraction.
distracted.
We were distracted. Anyways, Kath, you should cut this podcast, you know, when I don't make sense, okay? Because I don't want people to cancel me or whatever, but I'm irrelevant, so it doesn't matter. But still,
Candy, remember you're not relevant enough to get canceled.
that's what I just said. Anyways, so we're back. You know what
Back.
I do have aesthetic for?
What?
Spotify. My Spotify covers have an aesthetic.
Mine don't.
Except the last four. Ignore the last four. But if you follow my Spotify, no, okay, anyways, on my Spotify, like my playlists are organized in 4 rows, right?
Okay.
Rows of four, I meant rows of four.
Okay.
And there's one that's like a black and white theme, there's one that's like a memories theme, and then a disco theme. That so it does have like categories. That's about where my aesthetic lies, where I try to apply aesthetic stuff.
The thing is, I don't have any aesthetic for my Spotify covers. They're basically just my Spotify covers. Like, I don't know if I mentioned this in the music one. I think I probably did, but each of my Spotify covers have a meaning to it, you know, and like it has a correlation to the playlist, you know. So Okay, I'll take an example. Uh, Here.
Mine used to be all Leo.
Home. Home is my Indonesian music playlist. It's called Home because I was born and raised in Indonesia, so obviously that. And the picture is of Candy and three other people who are also our friends, right? And I probably took, and that is my Spotify cover because this was taken when we were all sleeping in the same cabin and stuff. And it was also when we were still in Indonesia. And home is because where my Indonesia is where my friends are, so that. Yeah, so basically, I guess that's it. I really don't think I have an aesthetic. Like my
For your
only
Spotify.
for no, like for anything. I feel like the only thing people like know me for is having like a gamer dad. Yeah, but yeah, that's okay. That's literally why I
I mean,
have
you're
this.
not wrong.
So yeah, see, like all the guys are like, Kath, I want to play games with your dad. I want to play games with your dad. I'm like, then ask him.
That's so weird, honestly. That's kind of weird, not gonna lie. But yeah, just no aesthetics. You can have more than one aesthetic.
Yeah, okay. Conclusion of this podcast because clearly this
Conclusion.
podcast episode went everywhere. So we don't really quite remember where we went. So yeah. Um
Conclusion. To
conclusion
conclude.
is um in our opinions, it's okay to have an aesthetic. It's just you don't need to completely change yourself just to fit into that aesthetic. Like if you think like you like the aesthetic and you want to follow it, go ahead. Just we don't feel the need to change yourself completely. Like you don't need to change yourself like a whole like 360, like just relax. You can just stay
Yeah.
yourself while liking that aesthetic and kind of implementing some parts of that aesthetic into your life, Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like if you're doing, for example, if you're doing like a photo shoot and you're trying to get like a, you know, disposable picture 90s theme aesthetic, yeah, go for it. But then if your whole world revolves around you trying to be something you're not, don't do it. That's pretty much
Yes.
it. That's
Okay.
pretty much what we're getting at. We've spoken in 40 minutes just about that. But yes, is that where we're gonna wrap up?
Okay. On that note, thank you for listening to this episode of Things That Keep Us Up at Night. And please follow our podcast on Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel that is Things That Keep Us Up at Night. Please rate our podcast 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Please, you can check the link in our Instagram bio or under our YouTube YouTube videos to see what other platforms you can see our podcast is available on. So, yes, thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye. It's for the aesthetic.